call the meeting in order, in compliance with the Federal Invocation Act. This meeting was submitted to, by fax, as Spartanburg Herald Journal, posted on the bulletin board in the Lobby Town Hall, and on the town website. We now have an invitation.
Let us pray. Father God, Lord, we again, Lord, come to you tonight, Father. And Lord God, we just come into you tonight, Father, and we're asking you for wisdom and knowledge, Father, for our town, and for our town council, and for our administrator, Father. And Lord God, that they'd be able to lead it the way that you'd have it to be led tonight, Father. That Lord God, that you would touch them and move upon them, Lord, tonight, Father. And so, Lord God, we also come to you, Jehovah Jireh, God of provision. Father, we're asking, Father, because the needs of our town, they're great. They're both been spoken and unspoken throughout the time, Lord. And Lord God, you know each need and each request, even the desires of the heart of your people here in our town in Pacolet, Father. So we're asking you, oh God, to open up the doors and windows of heaven, Father, and shower down blessings upon our town and upon our townspeople tonight, Father. Then, Lord God, that you would touch, Lord God, that you would move, Father. Lord God, that you would bless like never before. And Lord God, we get a praise and glory for it all, through it all. In Jesus' name, and amen.
Pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have two citizens who will be speaking tonight. Ms. Linda Chadwick.
Good evening, everyone.
Could you turn that mic
name.
down? There you go.
Can you hear me now? My name is Linda Chadwick, and I live at 210 Stone Street in Pacolet. And my concern is the social media that we have. It is an embarrassment to our town, and if anybody is wanting to move to a nice town, they would not pick this town. It is very embarrassing, and I think you have discussions or problems amongst yourselves, do it privately, not on social media. That's any of it. And also, another thing I would like to ask about is the Christmas decorations. I was told today that you couldn't volunteer like you used to could, many years ago. I was born and raised here, so I was gone for 12 years, but I've been back for a long, long time. And I think that anybody that wants to decorate for Christmas should be encouraged and not discouraged. Because I used to go over there and help. We never had to sign a waiver. Nobody ever, I fell off a tree one day. I never sued anybody. And I just think we need to pull together as a community and not apart. And I think we have a lot of division in this town. And I hope and pray that we can get together. And I know some of you have tried your best to pull things together, and some of you haven't. So that's what I have to say, but please take my words in earnest. It is an embarrassment what is put on social media. And new companies do look at social media. I hope you realize that. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we have Ms. Kimberly Peterson, please.
Hello.
Hello.
Mayor, we already talked about this, and I don't know how to say it without being pissed about our advertisement for the Riverfest. Basically, you guys stepped on the little people, and you had to do $2,000 to get on. I wasn't even on a t-shirt. And so what are you guys doing for businesses to encourage businesses to keep supporting our town's festivals? So what are you going to do in the future?
Well, we're discussing it. I know we will be discussing it in the future,
But I mean, why did it even have to be discussed? I mean, it should have been on there. Anybody that donated should have been on that t-shirt. You didn't have to do 2,200. A lot of companies would not be able to afford that. So you guys, you have to have the big companies to do, to get on there. I just think that it was just really crappy from the town to do that to us as a business people. And I want it changed. More people would come in and help. Even look at how many individual independents would even do $10. You know how many $10 would add up? And we would help support? But no, you have to get these big ones and forget about the little people. It was just really crappy because Pacolet IGA does a lot for this town, and I do not want to stop. And because I love giving and I love helping our town. But it was really hurtful what happened at the Riverfest. And you know, nothing, your communication is crappy. Just crappy. And I just think that you, as an educator, and you're the one who went to school for this.
Well, you're addressing us, not the other.
Well, I'm addressing it to him because it was him. Well, then I'm done.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Presentation 1, Spartanburg.
Town Council, Mr. Mayor, thank you for your time during your meeting today for me to come and talk about penny referendum. I handed out a brochure for you a little bit earlier. My name is Taylor DeMint. I am with One Spartanburg Inc. And under our 501c6, we are the advocacy arm in favor of the the continuation of the penny referendum, which is up for vote now during early voting and also on November 7th. One Spartanburg Inc.'s executive board unanimously signed a resolution to support the continuation of this penny, and the penny tax is the best choice that we have to address our roads issue. And I'm sure you are well aware, our roads and the conditions of our roads are the #1 issue that we have in our county. Our county council receives that complaint over and over again. Continuing the penny is the best funding source for them to address this problem. It generates revenue the fastest, and it also generates revenue in a transparent process. By law, all the revenue generated by the continuation of the penny sales tax must be spent on the projects that are on the referendum. And this is not a new tax. In 2017, the voters of Spartanburg County overwhelmingly supported by 63% of the vote to start the initial capital penny sales tax. It was also supported at that time by the chair of the Republican Party, Democratic Party, and the Tea Party. It was good policy, and that's why all 3 of those chairs supported it. It's good policy then, it's still good policy now. And since 2017, that penny has proven itself moreover. The Spartanburg County residents now enjoy the services from a new police headquarters. They enjoy the services from a new emergency operations center. And very soon, the courthouse in downtown Spartanburg will open, and we will enjoy those services as well. And after the courthouse opens, the joint municipal center will also be started and open. All of these things were delivered to the Spartanburg County residents, funded by the penny, and delivered to Spartanburg County residents 100% debt-free. It was also delivered to the residents with 30% of the bill paid for by non-residents, by visitors that have come to shop, eat at our restaurants, and enjoy the various entertainment venues that we have. In 2017, we asked Clemson University to do a study to estimate how much revenue was generated. They said between 28 and 32%, and they were right on the money at 30%. We asked them to update that study now, and they are estimating between 34 and 39% of the revenue generated by the continuation of the penny sales tax will be done so by visitors to our county. This is because Spartanburg has grown much in the last 6 years. If I were to put a dollar amount on that for you, that's estimated to be $163 to $186 million paid for by visitors to our county. That is a lot of money that we have the choice to have access to address the condition of our roads. Our roads, So County Council a little while back commissioned a study, and they used high-tech cameras and LiDAR technology and sophisticated software to assess what our roads conditions are. We drive them every day. We know they're crumbling. We know they're deteriorating. There are holes in bridges that are open for cars to travel right now in Spartanburg County. But they needed an adequate tool to explain to the community that our roads are bad. And that study came back, and on a 100-point scale, our roads scored a 57.5. As if you needed more evidence that our roads are failing, that is failing. That is not the impression that we want for our county. When people drive into Spartanburg County and their cars start to shake, that is their first impression of our county. We can do better. And we can do better and avoid a property tax hike. By saying yes and voting yes to support the continuation of the penny referendum, County Council will not have to raise property taxes in order to address our roads issue. They will also not have to take on debt to try to address our roads issue. I'll give you some more sad news. Spartanburg County is the #1 county in the state for traffic-related fatalities. 58 people have died in our county on our roads this year. Since 2018, in just 14 intersections, there have been 322 crashes, 149 people injured, and 3 people killed, and that's just at 14 of our intersections. But if the Spartanburg community comes together and votes yes and continues the penny sales tax, all 14 of those intersections will be improved. We can make our roads safer, we can make visitors pay, and we can avoid property taxes, and we can avoid taking on debt as a county. Choosing the penny referendum and continuing that ensures that visitors pay 34 to 39%, like I said. If County Council is forced to raise property tax, if they're forced to take on debt, visitors pay exactly $0 for our roads. They're already coming here. Like I said, they're shopping, they're eating, they're enjoying the entertainment that's here. They're using our roads, and just by nature of that, they're tearing up our roads. We might as well make them pay their fair share. The continuation of the penny sales tax will address an additional 577 projects. That's an additional 577 projects because the DOT says that they only have 13 projects planned for Spartanburg County over the next 6 years. We can do better than 13. We can support an additional 577 projects, again, without taking on debt and without raising property taxes. The Pacolet community will also benefit from this continuation of the penny sales tax. To highlight some of the projects in the area that will be addressed should the penny tax be continued, I'll list them here. Highway 295 from 176 to Reading Road, that's a $24.5 million improvement, which many Pacolet residents may use on their normal commutes on a daily basis. The intersection of 176 and Dogwood Club Road, that's a $2.5 million project. That intersection has had traffic fatalities at it. Fernwood Glendale Road, Cherry Hill Road, any students traveling to Broome High School or Clipdale Middle School will soon enjoy smoother roads if the penny taxes continue. Highway 29 from Spartanburg to Cherokee County and the intersection of Battleground Road and Highway 29, that is a $4.5 million project and would also be improved by the continuation of the penny sales tax. So if you're going to 85 and going up through Cowpens, you'll see that improvement there. These projects are just a handful of the 577 projects that would be funded with the continuation of the penny sales tax. In addition to those, the Pacolet municipality would receive a 200% increase of discretionary funds for their use on municipality roads. This is a 200% increase over what was given to Pacolet when they got the road maintenance fee distributions, which, by the way, the road maintenance fee is not paid for by any residents anymore. That has been rescinded. And at its best year, the road maintenance fee generated a total of $8 million. Since it cost about $1 million to improve, widen, or repave 1 mile of road, that's about 8 miles of road that could be addressed by that tax. So, since the county has 1,730 miles of road, that was 0.004% of our roads. So obviously that was not an adequate tool to raise money. Which is why I'm asking you and the citizens of Pacolet and the citizens of Spartanburg County to join me and join One Spartanburg to vote yes on November 7th or now during early voting to continue the penny sales tax. We can make our roads safer, we can avoid property tax hikes for the roads, and we can make our visitors pay. I've handed you each a pamphlet that highlights some of that information. There's also some pamphlets on the podium here for any people here to take. You can also go to voteyesspartanburg.com. That's voteyesspartanburg.com to review this information and see a complete interactive map that you can scroll around and click on all the projects that would be funded if the penny sales tax is continued. Like I said, this is a transparent process. It has the estimated cost, the estimated start date, and the estimated completion date for all of those projects. There's also a PDF list if you prefer reading 577 lines of text. So again, I'm asking you to support the continuation of the penny sales tax, and I appreciate your time. If council has questions, I'll do my best to answer.
Do you have any list of those improvements in the Pacolet, you said Pacolet area?
Mhm.
Most of those you listed were outside of the town and all, but do you have any inside, the town, like Highway 150 is in terrible shape?
So, to my knowledge, these are the projects that are closest to the Pacolet community. We can go online and look through that list, and I can ask county council to provide a list for you as well. But that's not inclusive of any projects that you might choose to address with the funds that are provided to you through this continuation.
Okay. Anybody?
Do you know what the percentage would go to specifically those, or is there other projects?
So all the projects that would be funded by this continuation are for roads improvements. That does include culverts and drain projects, some of those. There's a complete breakdown
On the back,
on the county side, yeah. I don't think it's in this pamphlet, but on the county side, there's a complete breakdown. So it does go to some storm drain projects. It goes to road resurfacing, intersection improvements, 10 bridges and 7 county corridors. I kind of briefly listed there on the back.
So this 1% would actually 100% of the 1% would go towards roads on
Only
county
by law.
roads, no.
That's right. They cannot change the referendum after it passed. They cannot spend the money on anything that wasn't in the referendum. That would be against the law, and that would mean people would go to jail.
On that side, you will have all these road resurfacing and bridges and everything on that website.
Correct. So that map there kind of highlights in yellow all the projects, and you can zoom in online. There's a QR code as well that you can scan with your phone, and just go straight to that site and start exploring.
Anybody?
Thank you so much for your time.
Hold on, we got one question.
Just got a question. I got a call earlier this week from Alan Smith from One Spartanburg, and he wanted to make sure that the town understood what Pacolet was getting. So there's $12 million that's specifically for municipalities on there, and based on the calculations of the number of roads and the amount of roads and the mileage of roads in Pacolet, he said conservatively, based on what has been collected over the past 5 or 6 years, the town of Pacolet will receive $582,000 over the next 6 years that the town would be using for paving roads here in the town of Pacolet.
When will that be available now, when you say?
If this penny gets passed over the next 6 years, the town of Pacolet can expect to receive approximately $582,090 to be used for paving, and then we match that kind of stuff with C-Fund.
Okay.
Thank you. Didn't know the dollar amount.
No problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You need the approval of minutes October 5th, 2023.
Make a motion to approve October 5th minutes.
Second.
Motion made, second, any questions? All in favor? All opposed? Okay, need a motion to go into executive session of contract negotiations.
Make a motion that we go into executive session.
Motion made, second. go into executive session, and any questions? All in favor? I'll bring you back to order. No action is taken in executive session. We'll go on to old business.
We are going to take action on that, I think.
Is there an actionable item after executive session?
Go on.
I make a motion we approve the extension of the due diligence through the end of the year. So,
Okay.
That's it.
Motion made and seconded to extend the, that, to the end of the year, negotiations to the end of the year. Any questions? All in favor? All opposed? Going to old
Can y'all
business?
please speak up? We can't hear back here. Thank you.
Okay. We'll try to speak into the microphone more, I guess.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, old business, consider the second reading of ordinance 2023-05 to approve the fee schedule for building permits and to be named in section 6-1.
we don't have any updates to that, do we?
We have what was, included a memo on there from Brian Blackwell. He could not be here tonight, but what he had on here was a memo based on the different cost estimates for property, a house that's $211,000 in both Lyman and Pacolet. Both of those were with, one is with CCI and one was with RCI, to show what the cost would be different for the two different locations. So I think what he wanted to show on there was, when you looked at their form, there was a section there where it just was $32, but what he's showing on is after each trade would end up getting a $32, and then based off of adding additional, based on various things that are kind of going on, he gave two different examples of what it would be. It was kind of more or less the devils in the details on there, as they're not showing all the information. So he reached out, and so in Lyman, for a $211,000 house, the total permit fees would be $1,206.25, and that would not include what he calls abuse or reinspection and associated fees up to $1,100. And what he's saying is he doesn't do reinspection fees, but this other company does. And so what he's showing is that in Pacolet, the building permits would actually, based on this fee schedule, would be less in Pacolet than it would be in Lyman.
I've got a few things I want to say. In comparison to other municipalities, I feel like it would be a hardship to citizens who growth the Pacolet community. As indicated at the last meeting, Mr. Blackwell said he requested to approve the elevated fees associated with the building permits and inspections based on the size of RCI. Spartanburg County has more manpower and more volume, meaning they have more permits, which they can do multiple in one day as opposed to just a small community we have. I don't feel like we should hinder the growth of Pacolet in any way. Approving an elevated cost of the fee schedule would just do that. Many municipalities in Spartanburg County has the same fee schedule as Spartanburg County. Changing it to accommodate a subcontract firm of the town just doesn't set well with me. CC&I is the independent contractor for Lyman, Newman, Cowpens, Readville, and Landon. We're in sticker shock to municipalities. They have the same permit fee schedule and re-permit fees as Spartanburg County. If you calculate the cost between RCI and CCI for a permanent $12,000 roof with one inspection, with one re-inspection, cost the customer double to use RCI. RCI's residential, commercial, building trades fees increased considerably since January. So what we have currently on our website, the fees went up per square foot pretty much across the board since January this year, and I think that's to just accommodate the lack of permits in this community for RCI, for them to be able to function. We shouldn't raise our fee schedule just because we have a contractor that needs to be able to make enough money to do the permits. That doesn't make any sense to me. So I'm myself, I'm completely against this.
My concern is with this lowest amount. The slight difference in house costs for building a whole house is not alarming to me, but if you spend, according to this, $1, it's gonna cost you $100 in fees. Now, it's unlikely your project will cost $1, but that's my big concern, that even the smallest projects are gonna be expensive. You know, you wanna put steps into a shed or something that should cost you maybe $50, $75, and now you're $100 in the permits. That's the one that really bugs me. I was hoping he would update that a little, where we'd have, you know, instead of 0 to 5,000 costs, $200 to 5,000, just eliminate that. That's the only thing I was hoping he would modify that.
And I agree with that, because the majority of the people who live in Pacolet are seniors, you know, on fixed incomes. And it's just a little bit ridiculous, I think, to have to pay more for a permit than what it is gonna cost you to fix whatever it is that you need to repair. So,
If I may, I would suggest, and it's up to y'all, to table this until RCI can be here to talk more about their whole system at the next meeting. And if the council decides to go their separate ways with RCI, we did go ahead and reach out to Spartanburg County, and all it is a matter of us signing a contract with them that's very quick. It's not something that would take too long, that we can easily go from building permits with RCI back to the county very easily.
That's what we should do.
yeah, I don't know why we should.
Well, yeah, so we just, you know, we're talking, we don't, he's not here to give any information, so we need, you know.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we table until we can hear from him personally, and whether he wants to take a second crack at this. I'll make a motion to table.
Motion made to table, need a second.
Second.
Motion made to table and second. Any questions? All in favor? All opposed? Consider second reading of amendment to ordinance, chapter 1, section 114-14.
This was the second reading of that. This is something that Judge Smith had recommended, is to cover additional fees that are out there. She said other communities have this, and so she recommends the Pacolet go ahead and add this under the ordinance.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve second reading of amendment to ordinance, chapter 1, section 1-14. Any questions? All in favor? All opposed? C, consider the status of a historic and architectural review board.
You've got in your packet something that was given out by Mr. Wright. I'll let him kind of have the floor to go ahead and discuss that.
The board will be to help citizens maintain and understand the historic status associated with the property. This board will not direct, enforce, or restrict any property owners from altering their property in fashion. This board would be in support of property owners to gain access to information, grants, possible tax benefits from being registered on the Historic Registry. Currently, 100% of properties at 243 in Pacolet Historic District are on the Historic Registry. This was the work of Elaine Harris and council members back in 2007. Since we're in the process of updating the comprehensive plan, preserving historic districts should be one of our goals. It should be reestablished because of our zoning ordinance states that any alterations, additions, new constructions, demolitions within the Pacolet Mills Historic District are subject to review by the Historic and Architectural Review Board in accordance with the design guidelines for Pacolet Village. Main concern is future new construction since there are vacant lots. More empty lots may come available if condemned houses are demolished. So like we said before, this isn't, I don't perceive this as being something that tells somebody what you can and can't do, vinyl siding or not. I think it's just a review board so that people can understand, if I do this, what happens? Can I do this, can I do that? So it's just for advice, and if we have homeowners that are really interested in some of the grants and tax benefits of having a historic home, then that board could be there to guide them through that process as well.
So it's not gonna be anything that's required if they choose to keep their house.
That's correct, yeah. If that's something that we would set up ourselves as far as guidelines and such. I think the guidelines that are there already, they're just like a guideline, but it's not a rule, it's not a law. And those guidelines need to be updated as well. So I think it's up to us to give the board some kind of idea of what they should and shouldn't look for and how to help and not hinder. I think that's up to us.
So section 1 here says, this board shall have the powers and duties set forth in South Carolina Code Title 6, Chapter 29. What are those? I didn't get a chance to look those up. Did anyone? What are those powers?
I don't have that power, but I would say that those powers would be directed by council.
Well, it says here that
If we
they're,
limit the board to certain aspects, I think it's our board that we can.
well, if we pass this, they will have the powers of this section of law that we don't have any reference to. So, I mean, you're telling us it's just an advisory board, but this specifically says it has specific powers according to state law. I just don't want this to turn into a glorified HOA. Like HOA is bad enough, but an HOA is the backing of our local government, it sounds like. Is there, you don't have these handy, or can we just see what powers these are?
I don't have that in front of me.
I would recommend so we can see what powers are given to this board, delay this. I'm not against advisory. I love the idea of preserving historic architecture. That's actually very near and dear to me, but this gives specific powers. And right now, I don't know what they are.
Okay,
I would make a motion to table it until we have that code. Title 6, Chapter 29.
well, it's not present, I don't see why it's present, but, you want to table it?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, motion made to table.
A second.
Second, all in favor? Okay. Consider the costs associated with backup sanitation truck repair.
The only that's changed since last month is I got a better cost estimate from Carolina Trucks International. We're still trying to get another company to give us a quote on this. Part of the reason of kind of getting that done is moving the truck. Only one of us in the town has a CDL to be able to move the truck, and it's scheduled for that time to be able to move that vehicle in there. And quite frankly, I'll be honest, I've been kind of focused on Riverfest for the last month. If y'all want to wait another month and see if we can find a quote on this, or if y'all want to go ahead and move forward with what's existing. This is a great company that we've been working with, but that's entirely up to council.
I say we just move forward. If it takes multiple people to move it around, like, are we just gonna save anything? You know, just put it under professional services and get it done.
Any questions on this? Yeah, any way you want to go?
I make a motion, we approve repairs to the backup sanitation truck.
From Carolina International Truck.
Yeah, it's there, we've used them in the past, so yeah.
Okay.
I have one question. You moved the truck already?
We have not moved the truck yet.
It's still sitting in Carolina?
It's still sitting at Carolina International. We were going to move it last month, last week, and something came up with those who were moving hook plane ferry around there, and we weren't able to do it. We can go about that route. It's just a scheduling thing. It is currently still sitting at Carolina International.
Where were you, okay, do we have a place that we want to move?
There's a place called E2 Diesel or E Squared Diesel that's located up in Inman. And they were prepared to look at it as well. I sent them the estimate that I received, but blocking out all of the numbers on there, so it couldn't be seen on there, so at least they understand, so that they can create a quote that's apples to apples on there.
The idea, the impression I got from Travis is he just thinks it's not worth moving around a lot and just get it done. So, you know, he's close to the truck, he's close to the situation. He knows it better than probably any of us.
Okay, we have a motion. We have a second. Or another motion.
I'll second the motion.
Motion made and second to approve Carolina International Trucks to improve the improvement of the sanitation, backup sanitation truck repair. Any questions? Any other questions?
Just once all this is approved or whatever, how are we going to maintain this truck as far as keeping it driven, keeping it serviced? I mean, I don't want it to be fixed and sit.
Absolutely. So Travis and I have already talked about this, and what he can do is at least one day a week, it will be driven. It'll be used for the area around Pacolet Mills once a week on there. And so I mean, he realized the fact that exactly, you fix this truck, you sit in the parking lot, and then you get it right back to the way it was. But it will be driven at least once a week. One other thing that he really liked about this, and I didn't think about this, is there's sometimes where the landfill is closed or it's backed up. And so what he can end up doing is, if his existing truck is completely filled and can't dump, he can go and get the other truck and get that one filled up.
I remember you saying that last week.
Yeah.
Any other questions? All in favor? All opposed? Okay. Consider updating town Pacolet code and conduct to include social media.
This was requested by Councilperson Sexton.
In light of all the social media activity that's not nice, that's unbecoming and ugly, it's a consideration to update our Town of Pacolet Code of Conduct to include a section regarding social media. Pass these around. On the top is the conduct, the Code of Conduct as our Code of Conduct. To keep on going. There's three. No, it's the whole packet. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's a whole, that's a packet, and then that's, there should be 4, yes, you should have 4, keep going, you got 3.
And you got 3? You have,
And one more, and then that is, you got 4, and that's 4. No, that's a whole section, that goes, no. Everyone just takes one, that's a whole thing. I'm sorry, I probably should have put it. So the first thing you see is the Town of Pacolet Code of Conduct as it is. The second one is the proposed revised Town of Pacolet Code of Conduct for elected and appointed officials. And then where I took this from, which ours already was very, very similar to the Code of Conduct for Palms, and we can go through that. each section. And then the last thing you have is the ethics, the MASC Ethics Act Rules of Conduct, which is the State Code 30-4-90 paraphrased. So nothing, so if you want to look at the Town of Pacolet, their proposed one, pretty much runs along the same as the Allen Palms one that's attached right behind it. You want to start with one, I'm going to go over them each section. So the deposit at the top, I'm looking at the new revised one. This is Town of Pacolet Code of Conduct. It's 1 through 5 on the first page. General conduct guidelines pretty much remain the same. The first one, number 1, act in the public interest. Members shall work for the common good of the residents and visitors of the town and not for private or personal interest. And they will ensure fair and equal treatment for all persons, claims, and transactions coming before them. So number 1 only actually included in there residents and visitors of the town. Number 2 is pretty much the same as the last sentence included or was revised to performance of their public duties. Number 3, you look over at the outcomes, the first sentence was added, members shall perform their duties in accordance with the process, and number 4, in accordance with the process and the rules set forth in the rules of order and procedure in the town code, Robert's Rules of Order, and the rules of conduct in the South Carolina Ethics Reform Act, members shall honor the role of the chairperson in maintaining order during public meetings.
Excuse me, let me interrupt you there. We have, it looks like we're gonna have like 15 of these like this. Can we have this as information and take it home and look at it and come back?
Yeah, that'd be fine, but I thought we might want to discuss it if there was any questions along the way. It's like I say, it's pretty much the same as what the Alpha is. There's just a few things added. The use of public resources is a new one that was added. Members shall not use public resources which are not available to the public in general for private gain or personal purposes and otherwise authorized by law. And the new one that was added to it is the one for social media, which I do want to read. Is members who engage in personal social media activity, i.e. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, blogs, message boards, chat rooms, electronic newsletters, online or social networking sites, etc., that makes reference to the town and members' own official capacity with the town or other elected or appointed town official, town staff, town property, or any other town-related business shall conduct themselves in accordance with all applicable laws and town policies. Members engaging in such activities should make it clear that they are speaking for themselves and not on behalf of the town. Members shall not engage in any form of unlawful harassment, discrimination, or intimidation, or use slurs, profanity, personal insults, or negative comments regarding town officials or town staff that convey personal opinions and grievances, entice unproductive attitudes and behavior, or disrupt the harmony of the town's workplace. There's also been added in here the sanctions and disciplinary actions. On the last, you'll see the code of conduct applicable to members of the town of Pacolet. Also includes the compliance and enforcement of such rules, and disciplinary action can and should be taken by the mayor and or town council. We can take these home or discuss it now or come back next month if you like.
Me personally, I think we should, take it and look at it and, see what we, if we do have any questions and all like that, say, We're out of time, we get into a major discussion on a lot of that stuff. Anybody disagree with it? I think, we just take this information, take it home, look at it, bring it back next time, and add it on to the next month's, and then we can accept it or not, and then. What do y'all think? Anybody? All right. Moving on to new business then. Spartanburg Roads, 2024 municipal paving request.
Yes, before I got here, y'all had already selected 2 roads for repaving. That was Cleveland Street and Fuller Street, I believe. And those were paved. This is to do another round of paving that's out there. The Town of Pacolet, I think there was some questions about this. There was that $25 fee that was charged to residents at some point. That no longer is the case. But that money is still there, and that's where some of your funding and budget comes from. So you got $147,000 that's currently sitting in that account. And like I said earlier, that if Kenny gets passed, then an additional $582,000 that's on there. And then also we match our funds with C funds with the county to be able to get things paid out there. 2 roads that I would suggest that y'all should get, should strongly consider being paid, is Carroll Circle, I believe that's in District 2, and Green Street, which I believe is in District 1. Those 2 streets, at least for my travels around town, are some of the worst that are out there. The cost estimate on those, based on the conversations that I'm having with the Spartanburg County Roads and Bridges, they are estimating $40 a square yard there. Carroll, based on my, not official measuring techniques that I was using, Carroll's Circle is approximately 3,000 square yards, which comes out to approximately $120,000 to repave that whole area. Green Street is much larger, at approximately 9,000 square yards, so we're close to $360,000. I would suggest that you put both of those on there, see how much the county will put towards the funding on their C funds. The town puts up the 147 and see what type of shortcomings or shortfalls we have in there. And then it'll be up to council if y'all want to cover that with general fund or do something else. If y'all have any other suggestions, I'm all ears. I think we went through this last year and I was asking for some suggestions and we ended up missing the deadline. So we have until November 13th to make this decision on which streets need to be repaved.
Do we have to vote and approve? I mean,
You don't have to vote and approve. I just need to know from what the consensus from the group is. If y'all like the recommendations I'm bringing forward, or you have other ones that are out there, you don't have to just put 1 or 2 or 3. You can put as many as you want. It's just a matter of once Spartanburg County comes out there and does a cost estimate of what it's going to take to improve these roads, we may be kind of in a shortcut and say, hey, we're going to cut that 1 road off or those 2 roads off there.
Can I say something? Green Street is state road. Does it make any difference?
I don't think so, but I will check in on that and see. I believe there's a section there where, let me check in on that. And see if that matters on there.
I had looked at Green Street, and in Naples, just a royal oak.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a pretty bad road.
That's the one that's got, it floods again.
It floods, yeah.
And that may be something that, it may not be a paving thing, but for that particular section of Royal Oak, we've seen all the pictures on Facebook, the flooding, all that kind of stuff that's out there, that it may be that it's not necessarily a paving thing, it is a stormwater, culverts, and repairing all that kind of thing. So when water does, when it rains in that area, it's actually going into storm and not just puddling on the road.
Ms. Rhonda Lee took the time to go through District 6.
Okay.
And make a list. Like, Park Street, Victor Park, Chestnut, Gaston, Oak Road, and Neville Street.
Okay.
I can give you this list.
Yes, yeah, if you don't mind, that'd be great. I just,
Only thing on that one, I was talking to Jason earlier about, you know, some of those, streets are, some of them are in, Central Pacolet and go over into District 6, or not 6, what, is there 6?
Yes.
Yeah, District 6. So we have to know if,
Where the Central Pacolet line.
right, yeah, if we're gonna do it from Central Pacolet line, or if they're gonna come in and do the whole thing. If, you know, Central Pacolet's gonna, say, yeah, that, with, agree with us to do the whole road, you see.
okay, and you'll just let me know, if that's the case, I can reach out to Mayor Buddy and see if he's interested in being a part of this. Otherwise, it would make sense if it's town tax dollars going to it, that it stays in the town of Pacolet, just my opinion.
I had short drive on this also.
Yes, and I think what we're looking at doing on Short Drive, I believe Tony and I, there's been a couple calls about some potholes on Short Drive and on, there's a street, I can't think of what the name is, you're going up Limestone and just past Green Street on the left. That second one up, I can't think of it, crosses over Green Street and then up to Cleveland Street.
Maryland.
What's that? Maryland, yes. There's a section out there that's really bad, and so I was just gonna call Spartanburg County to come up and just fix those in terms of just potholes.
I think it's important to say this, you know, in an open platform, but there, you can report potholes with your cell phone online, and the more people that report a pothole, the quicker they're gonna come fix it.
So most of the time they do, come pretty fast, you know, if you do it.
That's right.
You know.
Yeah.
They usually come in the next day or two.
It helps if you got them to pull over on the side of the road and kind of get a general area of where the potholes are. Report them when you can. 'Cause once they get too many reports, they don't have a choice but to come fix it because then they become liable.
Quick turnaround. I reported 2 Tuesdays. They did that.
So what's the deadline again? Was it November 13th, you said?
November 13th, I need to know, either your top 2 or top 3 on there. If y'all can just let me know on there.
Can you send out a reminder email, please?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Any other questions on that? And we'll move on to consider the amendment to 2024 town budget and the budget.
Yes, this came up in the addition of adding a new employee to the sanitation department to be able to do that, to cover that cost. It's approximately $40,000. And I added that on to contingency under income to cover the cost of that particular employee. We try to, when Tony and I put together that budget, we don't know if that particular employee is going to have an entire family on their insurance, or if it's just going to be that individual. So it's kind of always kind of a moving target until we know that. So we try to budget a little bit higher on some of the insurance that are to cover that.
And this requires 2, is it 2 votes?
There'll be 2 readings to do the amendment, because you're amending the budget. The last meeting, y'all were okay with hiring somebody else, which we've already posted that, and we're getting some good responses on there. But to cover the cost on there, it'll be an amendment to the annual budget.
I make a motion to approve the amendment to the budget 2023-2024.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to consider amendment of 2023-2024 town packet annual budget. Any questions? All in favor? Any discussion of building codes? We don't have our RCI here. We only need to discuss it.
I'd like to discuss it.
Okay.
So I recently was contacted by Mr. Morrell from 110 West Main. And currently he's under a verbal stop work order. He doesn't have anything in writing, it's just a verbal. He's not allowed to do any work. He has already paid a fine of $201 and a permit fee of $201. And good bit of communication with the administrator and council person to resolve the situation. Currently, there's no resolve to the situation. His issue was he's not allowed to change windows, doors, not allowed to maintenance the building or even repair to fix leaks or anything of the sort because of the stop work order that RCI issued. So I have a few questions. Where did the fee and the fine amount come from?
What was that again?
The fee and the fine amount?
I don't know.
No idea. RCI would know?
Brian would have to answer that question.
And that's handled here in Town Hall, correct?
In terms of the fine, if there was a code enforcement issue, is that what you're referring to?
This was the fee for a roofing permit. And a fine because you've already done the roof.
I mean, I know that he had started on the roof before coming and talking to Town Hall or with RCI.
Was there an approved fee schedule at the time?
I don't believe so. I don't think so. I'm not sure.
Why was Mr. Morrell given a stop work order and not further directions been given since?
You have to ask RCI.
Do you have a result to this? Have you approached RCI with the result of this?
What we were waiting on is for council to approve the fee schedule, and once the fee schedule was approved, then he could go back to continue his work.
So you've already paid a fee from
So,
what fee schedule?
so we need to approve a fee schedule so he can go back to work. I don't understand how that pertains to each other. He was already issued a fee and a fine for not prior doing. What communication I have so far is that you indicated to him that 105.2 work exemptions for permits. You indicated he gave you a list of the items that he would like to repair in his building. I'm trying to figure out why he wasn't issued an annual permit. He had a list of all the items that he would like to do on his building, but he was never issued an annual permit. This would be RCI's decision.
I believe it would be RCI. I don't know the international code yet. And so I guess at the time there was a disagreement or a misunderstanding between RCI and him to understand what was required or what was not required on there.
And what RCI wasn't able to answer the questions.
I don't know. I'll have to do more research and then get back to you.
I think it's important that we understand that RCI has the decision to do annual permits. As long as he's provided with the items ahead of time of what work he would like to do to you. Being a licensed contractor, Mr. Morrell can do all the work himself, as well as owns the building. That is the circumstances in which an annual permit is permitted. I'm confused as to why we've let this go on since early August.
So one thing that's probably confusing this is there's two properties he's trying to work on. The first property, he just went ahead and did work on. He was given a fine for that. Now he's talking about a different address, which is adjacent to that property. So it's not just one issue. There's multiple addresses and properties that he's wanting to work on. Now, if you're right, he should be back to work. Last I spoke with him, he wanted an apology from the town. And he was kind of hung up on that. Now, I believe, remind me if I'm wrong, you gave him an email of things he could do that were basic maintenance that didn't necessarily require a permit. He opted not to proceed with that. And he told me personally he was on to another project, that he would get to that building when he got to it.
The 110 West Main is one address, so one piece of property. There are different buildings associated, but it's one complete address. So the permit would be for one address, and the work being done to the building on that same address. Basically what I'm trying to figure out is, you as the administrator, trying to promote the growth and progress of a contractor that purchased a building, a commercial building. I haven't heard anything about it until late last week. I'm a little bit perturbed with that. I think RCI should and could have been directed to issue the annual permit if at some point somebody with the knowledge of the permitting process was contacted. If you would have asked me an email, hey, what do we do here? Annual permit based on these circumstances. And I don't know if RCI, I don't know if RCI just wanted to write several permits, or just the fact that an annual permit is a one-time thing and then it requires inspection over time. The end result of that would be the same amount of money I would receive. I mean, if we had an approved fee schedule. I feel like that we either need to find another inspector, call Spartanburg County to see if we need somebody else to take a look at this, and give him the application for the annual permit. I think that's something we should, as good stewards
I'm
of the
confused on the
town.
fact with something that's dealing with the town growth, etc. How come one council person administrator knows about it, nobody else has heard about it?
I ain't heard about it.
Because it's in my district, and he contacted me personally.
It's the discretion of the administrator when he feels as if it's necessary to contact council about it. That's what the ordinance says, that items that.
Here we are.
Items that may or may arise that he feels necessary to contact council. So it's his discretion to let us know. Regardless of that, I think we should try to find a way to resolve this and allow this individual to go back to work. And whatever method we need to do with it. If we need to part ways with RCI right now and call Spartanburg County and sign a contract so this individual can get to work, I think we should do that.
I am trying to figure out a way with RCI and with legal issues to be able to let him do the maintenance work that he needs to do to secure the building. The windows, roof, door, however, anything that requires trade, electrical, plumbing, HVAC, would have to be inspected. And I believe there's a hole in the floor that would need to be done. That's a structural thing. But anything that's not structural, that doesn't require trade, I don't really have much of an issue with that. A lot of it ends up falling under, now granted, this was back when I was doing real estate development, was if you own the property and the building was less than 5,000 square feet, you could act as your own GC. And he is a contractor. And so I don't want to do anything that we're not allowed to do, but I completely agree that if someone's willing to fix and take care of and beautify a property in the community, we need to figure out a way to make this work.
He was given a list, it just wasn't as extensive as he was hoping.
Yeah, it was a return list, from what I understand. So the whole point of the annual permit is for these types of situations where you're not totally sure what you're going to be into. Why would you buy an HVAC permit just to test your unit to see if you need a tradesman to come in and do some repairs? The whole purpose of the annual permit is to remove the form, find out if your structural joists are in good or bad shape, so that you can either just put them back or you'll have to call an engineer or something like that. So the annual permit is there so you can close in, dry in the facility, and then move forward with actual construction drawings and so on and so forth. So I think the annual permit should have been pursued, and he should have been given an application to apply for first, and then reviewed after that.
When will RCI be available? I know they're on Trip or whatever, Retreat or whatever. When will they be available?
I don't know their schedule. I would hope they'll be here at the next council meeting. I'll make sure that they are here. I would agree that if they're not here at the next council meeting.
I think we should talk to them before that, though.
He's asked to have a workshop with council.
I'm not talking about this matter. Not on this matter.
Well,
yeah, I think we should talk to him, about solving this problem right here.
okay.
And,
I think you should have a meeting with them as soon as possible and indicate the path moving forward should be an
I
annual
mean, this is
permit.
the second time, I mean, we had the same similar
We did.
hang-ups with the ABC store.
We did. Same company, same lack of permit. Not the same situation, but
yeah.
Well, let's,
But yeah, I think, we would direct you to solve this problem as soon as possible with the RCI and the rail or whatever. And, get it solved any way we can do it.
I did review the list that Mr. Morrell sent, and I can provide that to you guys if you'd like, but essentially the list is of items that's necessary to dry in the building and safe up the building so that he can move forward in identifying the major repairs that may or may not have to happen. So I think it is appropriate. I've been in the building trades a long time in my life too. Many annual
You
permits.
give me an address, what the building is.
This is what we call the banana box.
Okay.
Or what is the other one? There's some
Coleman.
Coleman, there you go, Coleman's building.
it's two addresses, 110 and 120.
Okay, go ahead and talk to, Brian and get this solved.
I'll make it a priority.
Okay. All right. Any others on this? Okay, discussion of practice zoning ordinance and order for Riley's auto park.
Just give you a little bit of feedback where we are with the O'Reillys. A while back, they started this project back in June, and I'm not exactly sure how we got to this point, but we're at a point right now where there was a site approval that needed to be done for a letter written to SEDOT. After a review of their current site plan and our zoning ordinance, they needed to update some stuff to make it correct. I've been back and forth with the contractor, Kinetic Engineering, and as of today, as of 5:30 this evening, they have agreed to make updates to the parking lot to suffice the zoning ordinance. So at this point, it's a moot issue. However, this is one of many reasons that we need to overhaul the zoning ordinance. It does not make sense for the town of Pacolet. The town of Pacolet does not have a downtown. Zero lot lines don't exist here like they would in a downtown setting. There's just, if you get a chance to look at the zoning ordinance, there's a lot of things that are incorrect or errors, and then there's some sections on there that refer to other sections that don't exist. So I think you all know this. I'm not telling you anything you don't. What I was trying to do with O'Reilly's is there's some things that need to be done to their parking lot, which I don't necessarily agree with, but I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place, and that rock and hard place is the zoning ordinance. And so, as the zoning administrator was able to help them and work out as easy a process to make it work for them, and they were completely happy with the solution we came up to.
There wouldn't have been a problem if they had started grading the parking lot again.
So it's in my opinion, and then I reached out to the Municipal Association of South Carolina, ACOG, and a couple other people on there. If they would have just, the building is built, I believe, in 2002. The zoning ordinance was put in place in 2009 and then has been updated multiple times to 2014, I believe. So the property is grandfathered in. The parking lot is grandfathered in. However, when they tore up that parking lot to repave it, to redo it, it triggered new construction on there. If they would have left some portion of that property there, it would have been perfectly fine for them to pay over the top of it and keep going. But because of the fact that they tore off the whole thing and started over, they had to abide by our existing zoning ordinance.
Okay, another question, we have a zoning, we have an ordinance, committee that's looking into ordinances out. Would we make the zoning ordinance a priority for y'all?
I think we were talking about getting the comprehensive plan, the master plan established first, so that we can know what the zoning ordinance is about.
The company that our Appalachian Council of Governments that we're currently working with to do the comprehensive plan, they would also be well versed in updating our zoning ordinance. They are well familiar with the zoning ordinance, and they believe that the zoning ordinance that we have for the town of Pacolet is inappropriate for the size town that we have. They've already said that. It may be worthwhile to get a price from them to go ahead and see what it would take for them to go ahead and start working on that. That's up to y'all. So while they're doing comp plan, they can also go ahead and look at updating the zoning ordinance. I'd recommend that.
I think that's essential. And not that I'm not willing to look at the zoning ordinances, but the undertaking of going through that is extreme because there's a lot of errors, mistakes,
contradictions.
Yeah, okay, so do we want to go ahead and?
That'd be great. Can you just have them start on that? And
Well, what I'll do is I'll go ahead and get a price from ACON on that. And like anything with ACON, it's going to be drastically less than anybody else can do it. But I'll go ahead and get a price from ACON for y'all to consider the December 12th meeting.
Okay. Okay, discussion regarding the improvements to town hall, consider directing staff to hire an architect to create a construction drawing.
So I sent you all a link that was given by Mr. and Mrs. Wright that created a conceptual idea of what we'd like to update town hall to look like. There's been a request from PD to move court here and just have everything all in one location. Plus, I'm told that as much as y'all love each other very much, you don't always want to stare at each other when you're in council. And so the concept would be, so the public understands, is to do a dais or a desk for council to go across the back of this window here, and then in the corner, we end up putting a space there for the clerk of court and will also be the assistant town clerk. That takes care of a couple things. One, for council being up here, it's just a much better, more professional kind of location for them. There'll also be included in this is to do TVs both for council and also for the public. That would hook into my Surface Pro here so that both council and the public can see what we're talking about. There's a lot of times where y'all are probably trying to figure out what's going on and where we are in the agenda, and there's certain visual stuff that you probably know about that they don't. And it'd also be a way that we could hook into y'all's tablets out there. What I'd like to do is, although the conceptual visual is great, we'll end up needing to get architectural drawings of this. And if y'all wouldn't mind, through professional services, I'd like to go ahead and look at some companies that are out there and bring something to y'all. If you'd like, I can go ahead and hire that person. I just didn't want to have to go through the whole, another drawn out RFP process on there. I can look at 3 or 4 different companies that are out there and go ahead and hire the lowest bid and then go ahead and have them start. Just want to get your feedback on that.
I talked with the chief about this. He's indicated to me that he would prefer an egress behind the desk, somewhere on the wall, centralized. I don't know exactly what the cost for putting a door on that wall would be, but I would estimate it'd be above $80,000. I could be off. I mean, it's brick, it's structural, but there's a window so we could use the opening for that. As far as the drawings for this, cabinet company would basically do their drawings regardless. So an architectural engineer wouldn't necessarily have to do the drawings for it. most cabinet companies would measure the space, and that's who would build such a thing, for sure. But I would probably get some quotes calculated and see what's feasible. Doesn't have to be a cabinet company, but the build of this would be a little bit different. So I can provide to you some of the internal parts of the desk. The chief and I had talked about this, and we feel as if the front section of it should have steel plating in between. A very small cost, it might be a little bit more of a cost to have it built that way. Anyway, so I think it's probably better that I give you some kind of detail to what needs to be there, what kind of countertop or, desktop, that kind of thing.
The reason for some type of architectural drawings is so that if we do, as we're bidding out this, that everyone's kind of bidding on apples to apples.
That's right.
I don't want to get into, I got into a situation with the whole HVAC thing and should have done drawings up front and should have done a lot more prep up front, and I don't want to get into that situation with this. And so I would much rather have an opportunity that we can decide on exactly how this is going to look. If that ends up being a holding cell, or if it ends up being, one other option I've considered is a meeting area that can be in that location. One other thing that I'd like for you all to consider is, updating some of our bathrooms. We've got some old plumbing, old bathrooms that may want to be evaluated. Another thing that I'd like for you all to consider, if we end up moving the assistant town clerk space up to this corner, which keeps people from having to walk back all the way to the back to have business done, they can get taken care of it right here, is to consider a space in the back that y'all use as your boardroom or meeting space. And so it's designed for that. There's maybe a projector or TV in there, so that if y'all need to go back there for executive session with a contract negotiations, that y'all have a nice professional area to really use that in. So that's part of the reason with the architect, is to kind of get all of that taken care of. And so we aren't piecemealing some stuff around here. So
I think the architect is essential as well, because my concern is that we keep the building looking period correct. They might have some techniques to integrate the modern stuff we want with kind of the old historic feel of the building. So they're going to have.
I agree with that, and I think, Jason, you can provide what you're talking about, and that way we'll know when we go to the architect and say, look, this is what we want.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Is I want to provide you with some of the.
So they can integrate that into
exactly. Yeah.
Excellent.
Some of the details that I know should be important and essential, whether the architect, how he can incorporate that. Plus, you'll need an architectural design code enforcement act.
And you can handle that with your professionals.
Yeah, I can go ahead and handle that. So I'll make sure that Chuck and back with the council before that, and I'll look at cost estimates on there.
Oh, yeah, that's what I thought.
But I will be sending y'all updates via email where I am throughout that process, just to go ahead and expedite the But you'll be given plenty of opportunity to weigh in and kind of give your feedback on the design, because I want to make sure that when we do move forward, everyone's having a chance to think about what and how it's going to be designed, and keeping the historical charm of this building.
Yes. Okay.
So for my report on here, Riverfest update, the event, as far as I know, is the first time the event actually made money. And so this will actually be used as seed money for the next year. It can also be used as for future events, like the event that's coming up that we're looking at doing, the movies on the river. Alcohol sales were down, but apparel had a slight increase. We did get rid of the long shirts. That was thanks in no small part to Ms. Kirby, who decided to help us out with that. Attendance on there was great early on in the day, and then kind of tapered off as the event went on. We're going to have a wrap-up committee on this and look at maybe reducing the time for the whole event. This is something that was the last year's event was the same thing, around 6, 7 o'clock, kind of, the kind of audience kind of tapered off from there. We're also going to look at the band, and it may not be that beach music is good for Pacolet. We had tried to get Dirty Grass Soul to come this event, but they had already been booked. And so we can go ahead and look at them for a next time. We do have a meeting. I didn't have it at the time I wrote this, but November 27th at 5:30 here at Town Hall, we will have a wrap-up Riverfest meeting if y'all would like to come in. If you can't and just want to provide some feedback, those that were able to come, please let me know. Let's try to make this next year even better. The Christmas committee update, snowflakes have been sandblasted. You saw one back in my office back there and powder coated. The next step will be to wrap them with lights. The committee is currently evaluating locations for all snowflakes. As I mentioned to you before, I applied for a grant through the 10 at the Top program, and we're one of the top 5 finalists, and I'll be going down to Greenville on the 15th to do a presentation, and hopefully we will get the funding for that. The next meeting for the Christmas committee is November 6th at 5:30. That's this Monday. At the last meeting, I mentioned that there are approximately 10 addresses in the town of Pacolet that receive sanitation pickup. However, they either do not pay the sanitation annual fee, or their house or a large portion of their property is not included in the town limits. Based on your feedback from last meeting, I sent 4 letters to properties in which the physical home, the house, is not located in the town of Pacolet. And this letter explained the situation and stated that if they wanted to annex their home into the town, that sanitation services would continue, no interruption. However, if they did not annex, these services would cease, their can removed, and the town would stop charging them a fee for pickup if it hadn't in the past. The deadline for this is November 16th, and we'll be reaching back out to them between now and the 16th to just make sure they've got those letters.
I would like the addresses, the 4 addresses that you sent the letters to,
Would you like this now?
or just a copy of.
I can send this to you.
Yeah, that'd be fine. The last meeting, you said that you would get us the addresses before taking any action. It was supposed to be discussed again.
Based on
My
the,
interpretation. Last council meeting, you said 5 times that you wanted to get us more information before you did it.
I felt it was very clear, based on y'all's discussion, that y'all wanted me to go ahead and move forward with this. And so there were 4 properties that are clearly not in the town of Pacolet. Their properties are not in the town of Pacolet. And so letting them know is not an immediate thing. I mean, it's giving them the opportunity that if they wanted to have their house be in the town. And I've checked with the attorney on this. And if the house is not in the town, they're not in the town of Pacolet.
So what decided that? So that the address itself dictates that it's in the town of Pacolet. And if they're able to vote in the town of Pacolet, would they, their residents would not be in the town of Pacolet?
That will also be corrected as well. So by some fluke out there, I don't know how, there's properties where their mailbox is in the town of Pacolet, but their home is not. The home, the actual physical location of the home is what is the important part. That's what has to be in the town. Those that are not in the town, there were just 4. There was one that was complete, actually there's 2 that are completely not in the town. No part of their parcel was in the town. And so it's just correcting that and making sure that they aren't being charged for something that they shouldn't be charged for on there. And I reached out, actually talked to the county administrator last night as this came up. If we have 4 addresses where the home is not located in the town of Pacolet, then the voter registration needs to do that as well.
Is there a necessity to give the property owner an appeal to this?
What I have on there is they can reach out to me between now and the 16th. I only have 1 so far that has reached out. None of the others have. I'll be calling them to make sure they got their letters, just in case the other 3, may not have even gotten them. I want to make sure that everyone has ample opportunity to either fix this or to if they, we can also have the attorney look at it, we can have Spartanburg County look at it. I don't want them to leave the town, but I want it to be fair for everybody else that's in the town.
I know this makes it a little bit harder for you to do your job, when I say this, of course, but, before you send letters about trash service, I would like to see a copy of it, since you represent all of us. I would like a copy of something that's going to really shock people when they see it.
Sure.
Ahead of time. I would like some say-so in the verbiage, before you send out letters. I had no say-so in this, nor did any other council member here.
Except for what we discussed as part of the
Right. Yeah, you can watch the video from the last meeting, and it's pretty clear to me that we all had questions what the ordinance referred to as far as residents. We all had questions. We were all up in the air with actually, what does it really mean? So that's my concern. But it's happened, so moving forward.
And I'll go ahead and send you all a copy of what had been sent out to these 4 addresses.
Right.
There was one in District 4, there was one in District 6, one in District, it was 6, 2, 3, but I'll get you that list of those addresses.
Thank you.
That's still all of us.
Ma'am?
All of us.
Yes.
Yes, I'll send it to all of you.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I'm not excited about this next thing that's on here, and I promise you that I've done everything in my power to try to fix this. Historical grant that we were applying for the Marysville School has not been applied for due to the complications with the website, grants.gov, fsd.gov, sam.gov, and login.gov. If y'all ever had an opportunity to deal with the federal government and try to get things to try to work the way you want them to, they don't. And so the issue that I've been having is from the last, I'm not blaming the last administrator, it's with the way the system works with one person being on the account and then one person coming in, and then I went through a lot of letters, a lot of phone calls, a lot of very angry messages to people, but unfortunately it did not get resolved until today. So now we have access to grants.gov. And we are looking at other opportunities with Appalachian Council of Governments to try to find some other grant that would help us out with the Marysville School. But I apologize. I promise you I did everything I could. I've been working with these different companies for the last year on other stuff to try to get sam.gov and fsd.gov to acknowledge me as the administrator for the town.
Let's just not lose focus on the Marysville School.
Absolutely not. No, I completely agree. We've got
going to need some repairs.
We got the quote, we had all the information, we were ready to go. ACOG had already written a description. Everything was all ready to go. It was just getting access to grants.gov. I was not a happy administrator, I promise you that. The new landscape company started yesterday. We are already receiving compliments on their work around town. You may have seen them when you're coming in, you may not have. But they have already hit Marysville School, they've already hit Town of Pacolet, Town Hall, they've already hit the flats area out there. We were out there at the Amphitheater. I love their can-do attitude, and they've been very impressing to me. And I believe Pidge made a comment about how great they were so far. They're already kind of Johnny on the spot. So I look forward to more good things with them.
And he did say, when we were talking to him down here when we signed the contract, he did say that he was going to get on the lights as soon as possible.
Yes.
And possibly, he'd like to have them, most of the lights up by Thanksgiving.
Yes.
I know we're not going to turn them on.
And his crew, I think, remember we talked about this, there was at least 3 or 4 people on his crew just for Pacolet.
Yeah.
Not 2 people. And so I was very impressed with this guy. It seemed like me worthwhile things we did get work with. Next section here is another thing that has to relate to the zoning ordinance and how it is messed up and needs to be fixed. There's a BZA meeting scheduled for Monday, December 4th at 5:30 following the public hearing. This is regarding variance for property located at 360 Hart Street. The property is one property right now, I believe it's a little over 2 acres. Got the application here. We have the total on here. They're looking to split one lot into 3 separate lots. Our ordinance right now states that the maximum size that a lot can be in neighborhood general, which is where Mark Street is 12,000 square feet. That area right there does not have septic, or does not have sewers. They have to have septic. Septic requires half an acre. Half an acre is more than 12,000 square feet. So they're going to have to do a variance to be able to build in that location up there. There's 2 issues that are coming up. One is the property can't have a depth of more than 80 feet, and the property cannot be more than 12,000 square feet in area. And so he's perfectly fine with that, and moving forward with that, he's paid his permit fee. That may be something, and I didn't think about this until I just said it, is it may be worthwhile if council wants to waive the fee for the permit just because of the fact that the zoning ordinance is kind of messed up. That's completely up to y'all.
The appeals fee?
The appeal fee is $100. I think it would be appropriate for council, if y'all want to waive that fee, because I have no problem with what he's doing. The lot sizes that he's looking to create are similar than lots in the area. He's wanting to build similar to what's already there, but our zoning ordinance is kind of messed up, so.
He's having to have an appeal based off of our zoning ordinance.
Correct.
I think we should waive the fee for this appeal.
I think that's a good idea.
We don't need to vote on this, do we?
As long as I have the consensus of y'all, we will go ahead and
Give his check back.
give his check back. But he will have a appeal that's coming up on December 4th. As requested at the last council meeting, the code of conduct has been sent out to the BZA and the planning commission. The history committee would like to revitalize the museum downstairs and hire a consultant to come and evaluate the museum and create recommendations. They would like to be able to, we're estimating the cost to be about $10,000 or less to have a consultant come in and do an evaluation of the museum. If you feel this is okay, I'd like to go ahead and put an RFP out for this. You don't have to hire him.
Itself would be 10,000?
It's not to exceed 10,000 for the consultant to come out. Some of the numbers we were looking at were about $2,500, $3,000, $4,000. It'll most likely be very small. But yes, a consultant for them to come out, we're looking at less than $10,000. And what they would do is create recommendations, a design, and how we should move forward with that museum downstairs.
We would then be asked to spend more money to do the design,
Yeah,
or not.
can we just not do the design and just evaluate it?
Is there grant money?
So, yes, I think we would go after grant monies if we could. And then you mean grant monies for the actual consultant? We can look at that and reach out to ACOG and see if there is.
We pursue that first instead of paying for a design.
So you want to wait, I'll look for grants that are out there first, and then we can look at putting this out to bid for that. Applicant update, we have several interviews lined up for Monday and Tuesday for the assistant town clerk position. We received some good applications for the public works employee, and we'll have those interviews later next week. The millage rate is for the town of Pacolet will continue to remain at 0.0842. Any questions?
I really enjoyed the talking trucks at the River Fest.
Well, good.
Yeah.
They were, was that Veritas?
I had both.
Okay. Veritas was a kind of a last minute on there because they were part of the festival last year. We let them come in. Thank you. You've got the report for RCI. I'm just providing that to you. I don't have anything else. It's just a report. I don't have anything, any information to give you. Brian will have to get that.
Okay. Do you know, you got posted 3 stop work, is that the same one or the 2 more that we got stopped?
I'll make sure that his next report is much more detailed.
Okay.
One of the things that I would like and maybe the rest of the council members don't prefer this, but I would like to know a detailed report from my district as well.
Okay.
And maybe the whole thing. It's important for me to know what's happening in my district as far as code violations and such. So I would like a district detail.
That, if you don't mind, that was something that we were looking at doing when April was still here,
Right.
and with the code enforcement, but when she left, because she pretty much ran a lot of and stuff. But absolutely, I think I would love for y'all to know whose district has the most code violations, or at least know what's going on, so when people are calling you or contacting you, you can say that's already been reported.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to be contacted by a citizen and say, I'm not sure what you're talking about, but I'll go look.
We are looking at some programs right now to make code enforcement a little bit easier and to make it more transparent. And what I mean on that is that if Ned reports somebody's house in the area, we've gotten multiple complaints for one property. And what we'd like to do is to have a system where it would show a location of where that code enforcement is, so that we don't have 30 calls in one day for that same property. They can look and see it's already been reported. We're done.
Ned won't report on it.
No, I won't report it.
And one other thing, and now that Chief's up here, we may want to talk about this, is we may want to consider changing the reporting away from anonymous, because one of the things that has come up is once someone reports it and we've gone and taken care of it, is being able to reach back out to them and say, hey, it's been taken care of and something's been done on there. We don't have to reveal who that person is. It would be something that would be in our office.
Yeah, something internal.
But we are looking at changing that so it's not anonymous.
Internal.
Internal. Yeah, you're trying to.
Good evening, Council. To add something to what you just said, discussion about code enforcement, I went back through the loss round, which is what our records management system is and what our ticketing is. And since 2009, there had only been 30 citations issued for ordinance violations total for the town ever. And the majority of those, like over 3/4, were dismissed whenever they went to court. So just a little fun fact for you there. All right, 206 calls for service over the month of October, 1,086 officer-initiated events or contacts. Our Citizens Police Academy enrollment has begun. We are currently planning on the post-class session to start on November 28th. Almost all classes will be held at the Pacolet Police Department. Anyone interested in attending the period for classes over a 2-month period, and you must be 18 years of age or older to participate for insurance purposes. However, we don't want to leave our young people in our community out. We were very excited to announce in the last 48 hours we were approved through the Boy Scouts of America to be chartered to be an explorer post that will be focused on law enforcement. Information about how the kids can sign up will be publicized really soon. But it will be very similar to the Citizens Academy in that we just can't have an unlimited roster. We can only handle a certain amount of kids according to how many officers we have. So when that is posted, those of you that know people that would be interested in that, they really need to reach out and do the application process as soon as they can to reserve their seat. Because we can't take everybody. We just don't have enough officers to do that. And the Boy Scouts have a very strict guideline of how many staff we have compared to how many children we have. I had count. So keep that in mind. It's coming out. We're really excited about it. All the guys are excited about it. Looking forward to continue reaching out to the community and people that get involved in the police department. The National Highway Transportation Safety Administration has come to us specifically and requested access to our wreck data. As Spartanburg said before, there are a lot of bad wrecks in this county, and because of that, the federal government has recognized it. This is not an oversight or an audit of anything our officers do. It will not provide any personal information to you about anyone involved in any of these accidents. They are specifically looking at data associated with the vehicles that will go back for safety purposes. This is not associated with enforcement purposes. Nobody's personal information will be given up. They are asking permission for us to notify every time they have a wreck, and they want to track those vehicles down and determine the amount of damage that they had, how many injuries or the severity of injuries that people involved had, that kind of thing. So they asked if we would participate in that this week, if there's no objections from council. Okay. I will tell them that we will participate in that. We provided traffic and security control for the Riverfest this year. I think that was a big success in comparison to other things that have been done in the past. I think that's going to be our model going forward. We have a couple of slight tweaks of traffic control that we were more so person's control that we're going to do in the future. I think we'll make things even better. But from the feedback I've received, all the officers did a good job. I think it went better than they really ever had from traffic and access control situation. We participated in the T.W. Elliott Center Halloween events on Monday night, as well as we did Halloween night saturation patrols. We probably saw vehicles out around the police lights on. Any kind of questions or comments from anybody I can answer, provide information on?
I didn't answer the
I do, no mind.
Yes, sir.
What is the proper procedure for contacting the police department for service?
We encourage everyone to call dispatch. If it is something in progress, I'll
Dispatch meaning?
Meaning Spartanburg County Dispatch.
911.
911. If it's in progress, dial 911. And it's one of my pet peeves. People feel like they don't want to be a burden to the system, so they won't call 911, or they'll call their Uncle Fred that used to be a New Jersey State Trooper or something like that. Call 911 if you have an issue that isn't in progress. If it is not something that is in progress, or it is something that can wait for an officer to take a little more time to respond to, call the non-emergency number, just Spartanburg County 911 console. 596-2001, 596-2222. Very easy to remember. It is so important from a standpoint of understanding what our actual workload is, and it's ultimately important for our officer safety. I can assure you, I have policed in multiple states in this country, and I've been policing for over 24 years. The Spartanburg County Dispatch Center is the most professional, most competent dispatch center I have ever worked for. I spent a period of time as a federal police officer. So rest assured that if you go to them for service, you are going to get treated well, but more so from my standpoint, they're going to treat our officers well. They're going to do the safety checks that they need to do. They're going to make sure that our officers are being checked on periodically. It's just a better system whenever it's dispatched through the 911 center. For example, all of the town municipalities are on the same radio frequency. That is like a safety in numbers aspect, in that our Cowpen brothers and sisters, we hear them dispatched a really bad call, but we might move to that side of town and stand by in the event that they say, hey, could you please come help with that? I would not know that if it didn't come through dispatch. There's no way for us to have that information. So if one of our officers is responding to something that's a really bad thing, I want our Cowpens officers to know that is happening. I want the officers that are in Woodruff to know that is happening. For example, this past during Riverfest, we thought a Woodruff officer had been involved in a shooting. Well, what came out over the radio, we had so many officers there, we sent an officer to back them up. If they had not done that through Spartanburg County 911, we wouldn't have had that information, and we wouldn't be able to send them that mutual aid in such a timely manner. Our officer actually got there before the Spartanburg County deputy. So it's incredibly crucial and paramount that people understand we have a system in place for a reason. It is for your safety, but it's also for the officer's safety. So please follow those guidelines anytime you do service.
I think it's necessary for maybe some social media posts or other platforms just to reiterate how important calling 911 is, for officer safety and public safety.
Yes, sir.
So that they can get a good description of the incident prior to dispatching proper people, whether an ambulance needs to be also dispatched. If somebody has been injured to where they do need an ambulance and only officers are coming, it's not a good idea. It doesn't serve the public very well.
Yes, sir.
So maybe look at some of that, keep reiterating that. Maybe at the town's website and social media posts as well. I just think it's important that we get that out there, just so everybody understands the proper way.
Anybody else have an answer to come forward?
Appreciate your good work.
I'd like to thank the Faculty Refresh Committee for all the hard work that was put into the festival. I just really think it was a great turnout again. I think the police department. Special thanks to Mr. and Mrs. Lyles and our local sponsors, Pacolet IGA, and all the volunteers and staff. And I think it turned out well, and I appreciate everybody that puts the effort and heart and soul into doing something for this town and its citizens. It's a great thing, and we should continue to make it better every year. Maybe at some point have a feedback portal where people from outside the town can, like, I don't know if maybe add something to the website. Maybe we figure something out where we can get some quick ideas about it. They can email Tony.
Okay. Thank everybody on the River Risk Committee too. Great turnout, great program, and I think we'll probably look at more festivals or something. Maybe another festival in the spring or summer, and maybe we could expand that. I'd like to remind everybody, election is next week. Get out and vote, and we have Thanksgiving for our next meeting. I hope everyone has a great Thanksgiving.
I made the motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion made, second adjourned. All in favor?